An arrest finally made in a 36-year-old cold case.
It is with great honor today that we announce that the grand jury indicted an individual named Stephen Dana Pankey for the kidnapping and murder of Jonelle Matthews.
For more than 3 decades, little has been answered about Jonelle Matthews' disappearance.
All these years of hard work and dedication were spent with the desire to find justice for Jonelle and her family.
Now, her family able to get another bit of closure.
The best way to describe their reaction was one of genuine relief, just excitement.
Plus, trying to make sense of what happened. We speak to a friend of the man killed at the weekend protest in Denver.
I just hope that we can find an ending and to all this and some peace throughout.
And the first round of questioning for the Supreme Court nominee.
If I'm confirmed, you would not be getting Justice Scalia, you would be getting Justice Barrett.
It's been nearly 36 years since 12-year-old Jonelle Matthews disappeared.
Just last year, her body was discovered in a remote field in Greeley, and now today, an arrest finally made in the case. Thank you for joining us. For Denver7 News at 5, I'm Ann Trujillo.
I'm Shannon Ogden. And just hours ago, police announced 69-year-old Steve Pankey has been indicted on charges including felony murder, first-degree murder after deliberation, and second-degree kidnapping with a weapon. Police have been pursuing Pankey as a person of interest for years. He and his wife lived just 2 miles from where Jonelle was last seen. He has since moved to Idaho. In fact, he made 2 unsuccessful runs for governor there.
And through years of interviews, police say Pankey frequently inserted himself in the investigation, at one point even demanding immunity in exchange for information in the case.
There are a number of statements that he has made over the course of time, both to courts, to law enforcement, to in unsolicited letters, in which he indicates some very intimate knowledge about the commission of the crime, information that the general public and the media was not privy to.
Investigators say Pankey took Jonelle from her home on that night of December 20th, 1984, and then later shot her in the head sometime during the kidnapping. And despite evidence, prosecutors did not reveal any possible motive as to why Pankey did it. He is currently being held in Idaho and will soon be extradited to Colorado.
Tonight, 9 News is clarifying their contract with Pinkerton, saying they directed guards not to be armed and that, quote, no staffer knew Matthew Doloff was armed during Saturday's deadly protest shooting.
Also new tonight, we're hearing more about the man killed that day, Lee Keltner. Denver7's Liz Gilardi spoke with one friend who still cannot believe what happened.
What do I think when I look at it? Seems like it was just yesterday. Those are fun days.
Memories and photos that Donald Graham holds tight.
Never did I ever think that it was end up being a friend of mine. You know, someone that I knew, and you know, Lee was a business partner at one time.
His friend Lee Keltner was attending a rally in Denver. A security guard is accused of shooting him, and that guard was working on contract for 9 News.
Lee was a real down-to-earth guy. I mean, he loved his kids and family. Loved his horses and loved what he did.
That's why it's so hard for him to understand how this could have happened. The arrest affidavit says there was an argument involving Keltner and another man in the courtyard near the art museum. It says, according to video, Matthew Doloff became engaged in an altercation as that argument continued. According to the document, Keltner hit the guard and Doloff pulled out his handgun as Keltner began using pepper spray. Doloff's family attorney told our partners at the Denver Post that his client feared for his life and acted in self-defense. He also added he was not there on behalf of any organization and did not have a political agenda.
If we don't agree with each other, then it just becomes an all-out brawl. And I'm sorry, but that's not what this country was made of. 9
News released a statement saying they do not contract directly with individual security personnel. 9 News contracted with Pinkerton and had requested unarmed guards. Pinkerton said Doloff was not an employee, saying an industry vendor provided the agent, but the company has yet to name that vendor. Denver7 has used private security in the past, including Pinkerton. 9 News said that the crews with Doloff on Saturday were not aware he was armed. Liz Gilardi, Denver7.
Colorado has reached a grim milestone. More than 2,000 people in our state have now died from coronavirus. Also tonight, the coronavirus positivity rate just keeps climbing. The governor says for the past 2 days, more than 5% of tests are coming back positive per 100,000 people. And the governor has warned if we hit 5% positivity rates, new restrictions could hit again. Though he avoided hinting at new restrictions today, Governor Polis says he is keeping an eye on the areas with the highest rise in cases. And he said right now that is Denver and Adams County.
385 beds being used for COVID patients in Colorado. And that's the highest number we've seen since May. Now, there are still thousands of empty beds available. The city of Denver will continue funding the unused convention center hospital site. City Council unanimously approved an additional $10 million to provide services and management through the end of the year. Now, that hospital has never been used, and it exists just in case we exceed our hospital capacity. Boulder County continues to prove it can control a spike as COVID-19 cases decline there. And now the county is easing restrictions on young adults and college-age students. All 18 to 22-year-olds can now gather in groups of 6 or fewer. Also tomorrow, in-person learning will resume at CU Boulder.
Just about an hour ago, the U.S. Supreme Court announced it will allow the Trump administration's request to end the census count early. The census was set to wrap up closer to the end of this month to help with any delays caused by the pandemic. And critics argue this could keep some from being counted, but the Trump administration says cutting off the count will allow enough time to get everything in order before the year-end deadline.
Very few breaks and more than 9 hours of questioning on day 2 of the Senate Judiciary Committee hearing for Supreme Court Justice nominee Amy Coney Barrett.
ABC's Andrew Dimmert is following the latest from Washington.
Today, lawmakers getting their first crack at questioning President Trump's Supreme Court nominee, Judge Amy Coney Barrett.
Do you commit to recusing yourself from any case arising from a dispute in the presidential election?
I do assure you of my integrity, and I do assure you that I would take that question very seriously.
Democratic senators arguing that Barrett serving on the nation's highest court will doom the fate of the Affordable Care Act and its protections for tens of millions of Americans with pre-existing conditions. But Barrett affirming her independence, telling senators she's not beholden to anyone.
Have you committed to the president or anyone else that you will vote to repeal the Affordable Care Act if confirmed?
Absolutely not. I was never asked, and if I had been, that would have been a short conversation.
The lengthy Q&A expected to last some 11 hours, already with its fair share of fiery exchanges. But it was Rhode Island Democratic Senator Sheldon Whitehouse who, using multiple charts, detailed how dark money groups provided millions of dollars to promote the judges that President Trump had picked for the Supreme Court to carry out specific political agendas.
Something is not right around the court, and dark money has a lot to do with it.
With so many potential landmark decisions at stake, no topic was off limits for lawmakers who know, if confirmed, Barrett will serve on the court for life.
Do you agree with Justice Scalia's view that Roe was wrongly decided?
Senator, I completely understand why you are asking the question, but again, I can't pre-commit or say, yes, I'm going in with some agenda, because I'm not.
Andrew Dimmert, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
Assistance for people struggling in this pandemic, from paying rent and utilities to legal help.
Is that something that you need help with?
Resources available right now for Coloradans in need. Plus, waiting up to 8 hours to make sure their voices are heard.
No, I came out here yesterday, and it was wrapped around the parking lot.
I said, well, I guess I'll be getting up early this morning.
And heads up for anyone wanting to go to college, you might want to finish those applications tonight.
It's nice now, but we have strong winds and high fire danger on the way for tomorrow.